Hey folks, Little John out at the brewery, and I'm doing a whiskey jar video today. The initial part of this video really could just end up could be anywhere on the channel, because it's relating to the whiskey jar and the stilling side of things, but it's something that just in general on the channel. I'll get that to a second. First, I want to say thank you to all the Patrons for supporting Little John. Cheers guys, it's great to have everybody along. There's benefits and extras for being a Patreon. If you're interested, have a look in the link below, click through, see what it's about. Other than that, if you're a subscriber, fantastic. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button down there in the corner. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a bit of a chat about one little thing. I'm talking today mainly about some playing around I'm doing with UJSSM, Uncle Jeff's Simple Sour Mash. And this comes about from something I'd seen online, but it's got me thinking. I've been thinking about it a little while anyway, and it's prompted me to push it a little bit. And I'm playing around with the method of doing the UJSSM and just a simple way of getting a bourbon wash or mash without having too much play around with corn. I'm going to get that in a minute, but before that, just a quick one. We watch videos. We watch brew videos. People doing brew videos, brew day, talking about beer and all the rest of it. And by and large, you see these people perfectly executing a brew day where nothing goes wrong. Everything's perfect. Everything's in its place. It's all nice and smooth. It's beautiful. Yeah, they look like the consummate professional. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I think that's, and pretty much anybody at home is going to agree, brew days, for the most part, don't run that bloody smoothly. Occasionally you get a smooth one, but there's generally things that go wrong. And I'm sitting here right now looking at the result of something that went very, very wrong last night, which was part of leading into today. So I'm just going to grab the other camera and just take a shot. So this is what my Robo Brew looks like this morning. It actually looked like this last night. It's covered in crap. There's crap. The dogs have actually drunk a bit of this. I haven't had a chance to get to it since I just put my hands up last night and stuff it. So it's a filthy rotten mess. So yeah, something went drastically wrong. And these things get cut out. And then just to top it up, just before, been chopping, bringing out some sugar to top up the next new generation, and whammo, drop the bloody thing on the floor and it's all over the place. So I now have a double clean up to do. So as you see, it went very wrong last night. I'm going to shut the camera off now. I've got a little bit of fiddling around I've got to do with this. I'm going to get it out, I'm going to grab it out and start washing it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk about what I am actually doing and what I'm trying to achieve with this slightly different method with the what I'm now going to call the LJ USSM, Little John's upgraded Simple Sour Mash. Anyway, I'll see you very shortly. Okay, I've got my raw sugar and my white sugar. Stock pot over here. I don't think you can quite see it. There you go. I've got about 3 litres of water in here. Now, normally, I've taken a generation and run it through the still a few days ago, which was the second generation on this run. And I was initially looking to do 3 generations stripped and then do a combined spirit run and use that to top up my barrels. I'm thinking I've probably got enough from the 2 stripping runs to fill up the barrels as they are. So I've stopped at that, so I wanted to play around with this next one. So I'm proceeding as sort of to normal, so where you would normally go, okay, I'm going to take 6 litres or thereabouts of back set from the last batch, which is over here, which is part of this big rotten mess. And then you'd top up your corn, which I'm going to do shortly, and I'm not going to show that. And just to remind me, just taking the spent corn, the stuff that's gone grey, that's no longer yellow, off the top of the mash out of the fermenter, which is usually about 3/4 kilo, somewhere there of corn, and I'll refresh that with fresh cracked corn. And then normally to that you add your 4 kilos of sugar. I normally use 2 raw, 2 kilos of white, and mix all that back in, and that gets you around, gets you your nice ABV, about 23 litres in the fermenter, and let us do its thing. So this is where I'm changing things a little bit. I'm still using some sugar, but I'm only going to be using about 1 kilo of each. I'm only going to eyeball these because my trowel's only going to 2 kilo, that bag's too much. This bag will be alright. And I've just lost, according to that, 400 grams of white sugar on the floor. Rightio, so I've got, let me stop right here, 3 litres of just warm water, and what is now 2 litres of sugar. Right, I'm going to mix this up. Now, I'm going to add this to what's in this fermenter in the Robo Brew. Now this is where things went wrong. After I've done the stripping run, I had about 13 litres of leftover wash. So where I'd normally take 6 litres of that, add me sugar and top up my wash, I thought, hang on. And this is where this other thing I said, I had seen somewhere on Facebook where they commented that they were steeping like 2 kilos of barley and adding that into the UJSSM. And I thought, well, that's not a bloody bad idea. Because the only real thing that we're not doing with a UJSSM is you're not mashing, and obviously that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to take the mash out. That's the simple part. That's the first S. But mashing the barley and your rye, if you're using rye in your bourbon, is not the hard part. The hard part's the corn. Stuffing around and trying to actually mash corn and boiling it for an hour and a half and stirring constantly and trying to make sure it's not burnt and mucking around with enzyme and all the rest of it. So I thought, well, what if I take some barley and some rye that I'd normally use in the batch, mash that in the back set, use the back set to steep it in, mash it like you normally would, then add that back into the fermenter and top it up. That was the plan, and the idea was at that point I would have taken, I've got about 2.3 kilo of grain all up, about 1.7 kilos of what turned out to be was a mix of Munich and Voodoo, and about 650 grams of rye. I mashed them at 65 degrees for 60 minutes. Pulled the bag up, which you see sitting on top of the Robo Brew on the rack, let it drain, and went inside to serve up dinner with the missus. Now this is where it got stuffed up. At that stage I set the Robo Brew to boil. And I was meant to come back out 15 minutes later when I'd finished eating my dinner. Removed the bloody bag off the top, check how we're going and let it run from there. No, got too busy chatting with Mrs. and watching TV, and I forgot about it. So what turned out to be about an hour and 20 minutes later, I walk out of the lounge room and I was greeted by a very, very strong smell of cooking wort. And I thought, hang on, I shouldn't be able to, really shouldn't smell that strong. It took about 3/4 of a second to dawn on me that shit, I hadn't been back to check on it. I get back out here to the brew cave and discover the filthy rotten mess that you've just seen. So obviously when she's come to a boil, it's hit the hot brake, she's foamed up pretty hard, and I don't know how being in the back set would have affected that, but regardless, with the bag of grain, it's almost covering the whole top. It's not much different really to having a lid on top, so it's obviously just spewed all over the sides, and as a result of that I've boiled off a hell of a lot more than I wanted. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just going to pull this top off and have a look. Okay, I can't see the fourth bottom, and there's generally about 4.5 litres underneath that fourth bottom, so I'm hoping I've still got about 5, maybe 5.5 litres in the Robo Brew. So I'm going to add that, or take off what I can, and add that to this. Sugar, and the sugar's just to make up for whatever difference there is there, and it probably won't be, there should still be the sugars there, because the sugars are just bloody concentrated the sugars into that wort. I'm trying to have a bit of a taste on it, see what it tastes like. So I'm just a bit worried that it's really got too burnt. And I don't want to throw a burnt flavour in. I mean, as much as the still can take a lot out, it's not going to, when we're running a pot, it's still probably going to carry some burnt flavour over this burnt stuff. Okay, it's not burnt. It's not nice, but I wouldn't expect it to be. It's concentrated grain, it's back set. It's all sorts of, yeah, it's not nice. It's quite thick, which I sort of expected it to be. So yeah, no, I'm not sure. I think that's okay. I'm going to run with it anyway. At this point, this batch is becoming quite experimental. Far more experimental than I wanted it to be, but this will be, if it turns out crap, then I'll lose the batch and I'll start again. I'm going to have my barrels filled anyway. This one is just, it's just an extra. I was going to play around with it. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So that's it. I'm going to drain the Robo Brew into this just to cool this a little bit, because this is going to be a little bit too warm to go straight onto the wash. I don't want to kill the yeast that is in there, and top up as per normal and just let it do its thing, and see how it goes. So I'm going to put this all together. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to film it. There's other videos on the UJSSM. You can go back and watch them and go through and watch the process. I'll put a link up to today's videos, so if you need to have a look at the process of refreshing the corn and adding, you can go back and look at that, so you know what's actually happening. But once I've got it together, I'll come back and I'll actually and I'll do a quick I'll update on the gravity, so we can see where we're starting at, and have just a final look at it. Okay. Right, we got it all mixed in. I've topped up to 27 litres, which is where I normally go, which gives me normally about 17 litres into the fermenter, into the still when I'm cranking it off. So drop the hydro in here, see what we're looking at, because I'm assuming it's going to be a bit lower than normal, and it is. Okay, it's about 1050, so that's fairly low. So might throw the rest of my sugar I've got here in. Might just let it go. No, I will. I'll let it go. So I'm only going to do a single stripping run on this. I'm not going to strip a spirit run. Put him all over the shop. I'm just going to do a single spirit run on this one. See how it goes. Obviously then the batch after that I will do properly, and certainly try not to muck up the boil, and actually knock it out properly, and see how it goes. Now there's going to be a lot of people who are going to go, why are you bothering with this when you just knock out the when you're only doing a UJSSM anyway? It's not bloody. But that's the whole point. I started off when I first started mist distilling, and I did 6 generations of UJSSM, and I did a mix of stripping and spirit runs, and I found up as I got that 5th and 6th generation, I was starting to get quite nice, nice product. It was building up quite a nice flavour. And this is, you get this from a lot of reading, that it takes time for those generations to develop, and to really get some depth of character in them from multiple back sets and all the rest of it. And I certainly found that once I got around that 5th generation, it really started to develop some nice character, and I was really happy with what went into the barrel and then sat, and then 9 months later what was coming out of the barrel. I aged stuff all the way along on oak from each generation, and tasting it, it was improving, it was getting better each time. But by the time the last sort of 3 generations or 4 generations had all been combined together and put into the barrel and then sat there for 9 months, it was a very, very tasty, clean, lovely bourbon. So I've done a lot of full corn mashes and platinum flake corn and all the rest of it, different options with the corn mashes, and had the bloody bullshit and the carry on that is a brew day with that sort of process. And I found for the most part that I wasn't really getting any vast improvement from what I was getting anyway. Not enough to go, okay, well, is it worth all that extra effort and the mucking around? Which is why I thought, okay, well, this is an option. I could knocking out a mash for a couple of kilos of grain is nothing. Then you just stick it in with some corn, and maybe a bit of sugar, and if that's going to knock out a good result, then I'm happy with that. And 1050, I was only knocking out around that range, 1050, 1055, with full grain mashes anyway. So it's in the same ballpark. It's not It's a little low, but it's not ridiculously low. I'm happy to get enough output out of that. So I'll run with it. So I'm going to do, let's see, so I'll do this batch, I'll do the next batch. The next batch I'll do the full day. I'll actually go through the process of the mash and adding it to the grain and the corn and getting it up. And then down the track there'll be, some comparisons on how the two go. I'll oak them obviously separately and in the same way but separately, and see how they compare. But at the end of the day, see how that method compares to just a simple, UJSSM, which I've still got some floating around. So, but I think this is gonna make a really nice product, fairly simply. So Little John's just upgraded the simple sour mash, UJSSM. So if you're interested, maybe give it a crack. If you've got the beer gear there and you can do a mash, you can spare, basically an hour and a half extra on your mash day, then do it. Upgrade your UJSSM, or maybe pull back the effort on doing a corn mash. Don't know. Try it for yourself if you want. If you've tried it, if you've done it before, if you're interested in having a go, stick a comment down the bottom. Let us know how you went. As always, if you haven't subscribed to Little John, hit the subscribe button down there in the corner. Get notified when things are happening. Don't miss anything. Patrons, again, cheers guys. Always, if you're interested in becoming a patron, hit the link down the bottom. But that's me, done for the day. No drink to shout anybody with. I haven't got around to grabbing one yet. I'm about to sit down and get one. And clean the crap out of that bloody Robo Brew while I'm doing it. So that's me. So till I see yous again, good brewing.